everything is not going to be perfect.
Nope.
Never.
The reality is nobody cares about you when you start.
That's true.
But you've got to find something and you've got to show value. And if you keep consistently doing that, that starts getting recognized. And in doing that, I found many different things that I was interested in, which I wouldn't have found if I didn't sort of volunteer and try those things, you know. So I didn't follow the beaten path. I made my own thing. Yeah. And therefore, I would say, in 10 years, I was able to move faster forward and upwards in my career than many people who started with me. Like, they stopped at 3-4 levels up.
Wow.
And I went all the way up because I was able to do such things.
Welcome to the Seemin Suleri podcast. Hello, guys.
Hello, everyone.
Welcome back to the Seemin Suleri podcast. And today we have a very lovely guest with us, Seemin. We're really happy to have you here.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm really happy to be here as well with you guys.
We're really happy that you accepted our invite to join like our little space here to have a discussion with us. Yeah.
A pleasure.
Thank you.
Yeah. So Seemin is, first of all, a mom, a vice president of Prima, which is an insurance company. She'll be talking more about that. And then also a director and a founder of numerous NGOs. And, you know, she's going to be talking about all of that with us today. So we're really happy to have you here.
Do you want to say anything as well about yourself?
Of course. Like, I'm originally from Pakistan. I came here completely clueless in Bournemouth, and I'm a Bournemouth Uni student, and I actually did my So it's been my home, and I've done most of my career around here. So a lot of the work I do is around Dorset as well.
Wow.
And it's nice to be talking to you guys, because it's nice to go back to Bournemouth Uni and be able to connect with some of the people there. So it's really nice. Awesome. I'm looking forward to our conversation as well.
Nice.
Nice. Before we start, first of all, we usually talk about how our week or weekend went.
Oh, nice.
So I just want to ask you, how was your weekend?
Okay, so my weekend normally is being a mom, you know. So I did a lot of glamorous jobs like cleaning up the floors and doing all the ironing and the washing for my kids, making sure their uniform was ready. Making sure their bags were ready after the half-term break, making sure all of that. So it was just like a full-time mom thing, really.
Oh dear.
Don't even think about it. It's just, for me, it's weekend is the time when I become a full-time mom, tie up my hair, and go
get into mom mode.
Zone. Yeah, exactly. And then doing lots of stuff like that. So and then in the end, we always take them out somewhere depending on the weather. You know, if it's nice, we go out for walks and stuff. So we went out. And,
that's nice.
Cool.
That's nice. Wow. So I think I've just come to a realization here. I'm always complaining that I have to wash the bathroom and do laundry and bulk cook and stuff, but it's like, I'm just starting.
I think
oh my God.
It is kind of. And obviously, if you count my husband, then I've got 3 kids.
Oh my God, I'm just starting out. Oh.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, like, for someone combining all these roles that I've mentioned.
Yeah. It's a lot.
It's really amazing that you get to do all of that.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's why we're going here, so that we find out like most of
how you do all these things you do. Really?
No, but I think it's one of the things always fascinated me. You know, when I started my career, and from the culture I come from, this is always an either-or thing. You either have a career or you are a mum, or a good mum. You know, if you have a career, you're not considered like a very good mum. Mm-hmm. So I kind of grew up with those kind of ideas, and I am sort of a little bit of a rebel. So I just basically thought, no, I'm going to do both, I'm going to do both well.
Yeah.
And it's a matter of people talk a lot about work-life balance, and
Yeah.
I always say it's just all life. If
Yeah.
you just treat it as one thing,
Yeah.
then it's easier. Because if you say, oh, I have to create boundaries, I have to do this. Well, actually, sometimes I have to go and pick up my children. I do that every day. Or I have to attend a meeting in school. So it is bleeding into my work day.
Yeah.
I can't say there is a boundary,
Yeah.
And similarly, sometimes because of those commitments, I will end up after putting my kids to bed, I'll go and I'll finish up a report or something or do some reading that I need to do for the next day.
Yeah.
So they both kind of mold
Wow.
into each other, and that's it.
That's crazy.
Nice.
I mean, since we started on that tangent, what were some of the difficulties that you had? Obviously, you started as like a career woman,
Yeah.
and you became a mom. So when you became a mom, all of a sudden, what were some of the crazy difficulties that you were going through?
So I would say the biggest thing was within myself. Okay, so it normally is what I mean. Whoever I've spoken to, women who are in careers,
Yeah.
the biggest thing in yourself, because we're very hard on ourselves and we just think, oh, I'm not going to be able to do it. So this the first thing starts with you feeling like you're inadequate. You can't do it.
Yeah.
And so I basically thought, I could also see other people who had started with me. So let's say I started as a graduate developer,
Yeah.
and then I had other people who had started with me. Now, having kids, meaning I will have to take some time off, and I want to take the whole year out. With both my kids, I did that.
Oh, nice.
So I took the whole year out with my kids, which basically meant that everybody who started with me were now ahead of me.
Yeah.
And so you feel like, oh, I thought I was smarter than them, and now I'm left behind, and
Yeah.
everybody's getting promotions and all, and I'm missing out.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I had to do a lot of soul searching, and then I thought, you know what? It's not a race.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
care. I care about my journey. My priority was to spend time with my kid for
Yeah.
1 year.
Yeah.
So I took the year out of my career, and with both kids, so 2 years overall. And if I look back now, I can't even see that where I
That time was gone,
because
yeah.
you catch up,
Yeah.
So I never thought that I wouldn't be I didn't think I wouldn't be able to catch up, because I thought I will catch up at my own pace,
Yeah.
because I'm not racing against
Anybody.
anybody. And I did. So I think in the end, you need to do what's right for you.
For you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the biggest struggle for me was to come to that understanding, because we
Yeah.
are really hard critics of ourselves, and we always feel like, okay, if I miss out, I
Yeah.
will miss out on all opportunities. Who cares? Because new opportunities will
It
come.
will come.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not a finite game. So if you think about it, sort of the infiniteness of things, then you don't care really.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so I kind of did my own thing like that.
Yeah.
Nice. That's really nice. Everyone has their own unique path, really, and you don't
Yeah.
want to compare yourself to others.
Yeah.
I love that reminder.
True. You always
So
feel like you are being left behind, but yeah.
yeah.
You're not.
So what informed your decision to move to the UK?
Yeah, so I had finished my bachelor's degree in Pakistan.
What did you study?
Computer science.
Ooh.
So I was a computer science
You did
major
computer science.
for-
Yeah,
Oh, really good.
I did chemical engineering.
Computer engineering, well, both are hard.
Yeah, both are hard.
They're not easy subjects.
I'm scared of the word engineering more than science.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think that so it was a tough 4 years long degree, and then I worked for our little research center for a bit, and I looked at opportunities, but if I go back and I'm being totally honest, is that I found that my life and opportunities were very limited. Because there are not many employment opportunities in Pakistan, and there are hundreds, if not more, people for one job, and it wasn't like,
Wow.
I mean, I had very good education, I had very good grades, so I knew I could do it.
Yeah.
However, the point was I wanted to see whether there was something else out there. Also, back in those days, I mean, people tell me now things have changed. Now I'm talking about over 15 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And back in those days, it was difficult. Especially, I was very outspoken. I was very bold. I used to drive. I was very independent. And that used to kind of, it was easy to spot me. And so it became a little bit, my parents became a bit worried about me because it's not entirely safe. In those days, it wasn't really. So I felt that I wanted to be free. I wanted to explore what was out there in the world. So I decided to come to the UK. Well, I applied for in the US for a Fulbright scholarship, which I got. And my mother, who I love, she got very scared because she said US is so big and you're gonna get lost. And you know, mums are very possessive.
Yeah,
that's my mom.
I'm from.
she's not wrong.
She's like, you're gonna get lost. And she had been to the UK. She said, why are you going to the UK instead? And I said, sure. So basically, she said, you know, I'll pay for your education. She's a doctor herself.
Wow.
And she said, I'll pay for your education. And I was like, you know what? I mean, if I go to the US, Fulbright, I will do for free. You don't realize. And she's like, no, you go to the UK, I'll pay for it, but then I know where you are and it's smaller.
Oh my god, I've never heard that as a reason.
Well,
It's
the
mum
UK.
reasoning. It's mum reasoning.
It makes a lot of
my
sense to me
God.
because like the whole of the UK can fit into
one state.
in the US.
That's it, right? So she was like, and I said, okay. And so basically I ended up here. And I knew no one. I had some like family and stuff, but nobody I was close to or I would talk to.
So you came straight to Bournemouth.
Yes, I came straight to Bournemouth Uni.
And you've been here since.
Yes, I never left. There's something to this story. I did actually, because the initial idea was I was going to do my master's degree.
Yeah.
And then I was going to go back and find employment there because I did want to contribute to Pakistan. Because I felt that there was a lot of brain drain. A lot of smart people were leaving. And I know I'm praising myself by calling myself smart. But obviously,
you are smart.
with me and other people of my age were all leaving.
Yeah.
This is a huge problem even now.
It's still happening even in my country. Nigeria,
this is the big thing because of lack of opportunities, the young people want to go and find a life somewhere else. Yeah. And you can't blame them for it, you know. So anyway, I came here and I remember the first time I came out, no idea. I had this taxi booked who was supposed to bring me from Heathrow to Bournemouth Uni. That guy, he was very kind. He brought me all the way to my flat. Ooh. I didn't know how to connect the phone because our system, like people don't realize the life, how different it is.
In Pakistan.
So the phone systems, everything, I couldn't figure out. So I couldn't call my mum.
Oh no!
And tell her I'm here safely because it takes like about 10-hour flight, then transit time.
Yeah.
And
sorry, can you tell me what year that was though?
Like 15 years ago?
2000, I don't know, you're talking about 7, something like that.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. So
wow.
And I did not know, you know, and they didn't give me any information about the internet and stuff or what was the code. I was completely lost, you know, and I was thinking, and I mean, brilliantly enough, I had sold my laptop and I said to my mum, I'm going to buy it there. Because it's easy, you know, otherwise I'll have to carry it.
Yeah.
So I did not have my laptop either. And so I'm going around trying to find a place. And I found this, you know, this little, I can't remember what they call it, but near the library, there is this center where you can go and...
Aspie?
No, not AskBU. AskBU was closed because it was like near midnight. There is this little place where all the computers are, and it's next to the library, or it used to be. That was open because it was open 24 hours. You could go in
it's
there.
like a theater.
No, not theater, but it's just like a computer thing.
Yeah.
So there was there were lots of machines there, and I could just go in and log in. Did not have my login information. I luckily had one other student, and by the way I entered that place. It was called Access Center or something. I can't remember. But anyway, so the way I entered that, I entered through the fire exit because I didn't even know where the main door was. And by the way, in Pakistan, there are no fire exits. I did not even know what a fire exit was. This guy said to me, by the way, you entered through the fire exit. What's a fire exit? Like, this is what level I was at. Anyway, so I managed to, my sister was online and I sent her a message and I said, tell mom I'm safe. And
was that Facebook?
Yeah, it was like over Twitter or something.
Tell her I'm safe.
Yeah. That's it. I will buy something and I'll reach out to you guys later. But just tell her that and that's it. So that was very bizarre start of my life here in Bournemouth. And then the year went by And I mean, I had to learn basic things.
Yeah.
Because, again, I never had taken public transport. Because public transport is so rubbish in Pakistan. You would never dream of taking it. So I was always in cars,
Yeah.
you know, either driven by somebody or
Driving itself, yeah.
And so when I took the bus for the first time here, I didn't know how to stop it. So I had to go from Bowethury to Winton. I sat on a bus and I didn't know how to
stop the bus.
Oh my god!
So I asked this guy who was sitting next to me.
you.
And I said, how do you stop the bus? And he goes, you know this button that says stop?
That's what you Oh my god!
And I thought, this is how I thought, he is pulling my legs. If I'm going to press stop, some alarms are going to go off. I'm going to look like an idiot. I thought he was you know,
Oh
trying to make
my
a fun. And he said, so this is the button you press. And I said, no, you press it.
I'm not stopping there.
And he was like, okay.
Oh my god.
So this is
my
my
God.
first experience on the bus.
Wow.
So yeah, very little things like this. How to shop for myself. Then I had to figure out how to work a washing machine.
Wow.
And all
Wow.
of those things. So I mean, very basic. I realized I had no life skills
Yeah.
when I came here because I was my mom's baby.
Aww.
And I said, and now I say to my mom, like, you didn't prepare me for
For
life.
life, for the UK.
She's like, well, how do I know? I never lived there. So yeah, that's the beginning of my life
Wow.
at BU.
It's really good to hear this because even though so much has changed since that time, I mean, if people come to the UK now, they probably know how most things work now.
Yeah.
But BU has this uni-buddy system where even before you get to school, you already have someone, a buddy that can help you. You can ask them
we
questions
didn't
and
have
things
any
like
of
that.
those.
So imagine you had such thing, you know, like
Oh, it
it
would
just,
have helped.
yeah, I'm sure you had a lot of firsts.
Yeah,
A lot of firsts.
I think, to be honest, I think even at that time, it's over 15 years old.
Yeah.
Over 15.
Oh
so
my
I
It's a
think
long
those
time
guys were figuring out how to
Yeah.
welcome international students.
Yes,
themselves.
Yeah.
yes, yeah.
Yeah, we had this
yeah.
like, they used to say, because I came from a non-drinking culture, okay, so I never had a drink
Yeah.
in my life. And so they're saying, oh, why don't you come to the cheese and wine eat? And I was like, well, I don't like cheese. And I don't
like
Yeah.
What am I going to do? And they used to keep inviting me.
Yeah.
And so it's like, it used to be difficult because anything that was happening did not take into consideration people who were actually not from around Europe.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And for Europe, people from Europe, there was lots going on.
yeah.
And they used to tell me, oh, this is going on, this is going on. And for me, there wasn't. And also, there wasn't a big community anyway.
Yeah. Even like 3-4 years ago,
Yeah.
you wouldn't see as much black people as, as now. You would see
Yeah.
them now. So, yeah.
So I think it's becoming perhaps more international.
Yes,
But back then,
yeah.
it wasn't. And so you had to kind of find your own way. But I mean, I'm not against that because it's a study of culture. And
Yes.
it just makes the journey hilarious because
Yeah.
you make these weird mistakes.
and now you think back and you're just laughing
It's
about
crazy.
it.
We've laughed so much. I mean, we're going to ask you about your culture shocks in the
Yeah,
UK, but
you've
given
already,
us enough.
yeah, honestly, you've already given us enough. Okay, so how was your experience with getting your very first job in the UK?
Okay. So, very first job, I think I need to talk about this because it's not something I talk about a lot. So, I was, after my master's degree, I basically had a 2-year visa, which basically means you can either do placement or
Yeah.
if you choose not to, then you have basically a year
Yeah.
left on your visa. And it all revolves around the visa.
Yeah.
And they had just introduced the post-study work at that point, and so, I mean, I know they took it away and then it was
Brought it
back
back,
again.
yeah.
So, the post-study work, in order to apply for that, you could, if you're not studying, you could have however many hours under the student visa. Anyway, so I was desperate to find a job after that, and I found a company in London who said, you know what, we're going to train you, and then we're going to find you a job. And I thought, oh, okay, fine. But you have to pay £200 in order to get the training. And me, being naive as I was, I paid the £200.
Ooh.
And it was a con.
Oh.
It was the last 200 quid I had.
No.
Yeah, it was a con. So basically, unfortunately, there are lots of companies like that who are conning students like me.
Yeah.
Who didn't know what they were doing. And so
Oh.
I paid this fee, and they said, oh, you'll have a test, you just have to prepare for the test. So I kept waiting and waiting.
And
And they
no.
promised me a job that never materialized.
£200 back then, though.
Yeah.
Oh
It's a
my
lot of money.
god.
Yeah,
It's a lot.
I remember my mom used to send me £100 for the whole month.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's what I used to live. I mean, it's not a lot. And I started working in a call center
Yeah.
just because I didn't want to flip burgers in McDonald's. So I was like, that was the other option was call center. And they were so strict with us. They wouldn't even give us a break or something. I had to repeat the same script over and
God.
over.
Oh,
But I
dear.
did that. It's fine. You know, we all do whatever we need to
To do,
Yeah.
yeah, to
Because
get
it's
to
not
where we
so
want to
hard.
go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It's not easy. And so my first job was really the call center job, I would say. And then I got this when I thought I was getting a job after my master's, it was actually a con and I lost the 200 quid I had. So I called one of my friends in Pakistan because I didn't want to tell that to my mom. If I shared this podcast with my mom, she'll be shocked about what happened. And then
Where her money went.
and then what happened was through Bournemouth Uni in my class, I reached out to some people and I said to them, you know, I'm looking for a job. Do you know anything? And they said, well, down here a couple of companies are hiring, and they said there's a company called Micronav that are hiring C++ developers because that was my background.
Okay.
And so if you want to do C++, you go and apply there. So I sent them a message and I said to them, you know, I would like to interview and stuff. And they said, yeah, come down and interview. And I got the job. So that was my first
Wow.
graduate role,
Amazing.
job that I got. And yeah, I met Mark that I mentioned, my friend who runs the Dev.Talk
Yeah.
community here. There, he hired me.
Wow. Amazing.
Yeah, so my first job as well. I still, you know, and the fact that we're still in touch is
It's
yeah,
amazing.
Yeah, it's
it's
good.
great. Yeah.
Wow.
crazy.
Do you have any questions?
I mean, so I know now you're having this, I don't know what to call it, whether it's an NGO or Women in Tech
Women
Dorset.
in Tech
Yes,
Dorset.
the community interest company. Yes.
Yeah. Do you want to tell us what inspired you to start,
Yeah.
Women in Tech Dorset?
So after Micronav, so I was perhaps the first engineer. Yeah, when they hired me, I was the only female engineer there.
Wow.
And then, I mean, there were a couple more eventually, but I think, and then I went to another company called ASM, Assembly Systems, that is in Weymouth, and I was the only one on the floor. And then there were a few, like one or two more.
Yeah.
But out of like, I don't know, 40, 50 people, you know, it's not a lot. And so what I felt was whenever there were conversations happening or people were socializing, social circles are around gender boundaries generally.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I felt, not only felt left out, but I was left out in all
Yeah.
of those cases. And so it's not because of any maliciousness. I think it's just naturally. It's just like, oh, let's go down the pub, and all the guys are going down the pub, and I'm like, okay.
What do I do now?
I'm just here.
Yeah.
And so that was a lot of, you know, it was a bit difficult for me, and I thought, why? But I couldn't find anybody around the area, any network, anything, at least to say, okay, we are all connected, we're going, you know. So I thought, I will do something about it.
Yeah.
So I thought one day I'll do something about it.
Mm-hmm.
So this whole idea of a community interest company came through that, and I can't take the full credit for it because Sharon Jones, who is the co-founder for Women in Tech Dorset,
Yeah.
who now runs it, is the reason why it became
is, yeah.
something, because I kind of joined forces with her. We got connected over. I volunteered for BCP. They were running some stuff with schools, and I was volunteering to teach programming to students in school. And she was one on the BCP side, and I was one of the volunteers. And so through that program, people put us in touch because I was talking a lot about this kind of network, and we thought, okay, we'll launch something. So we registered this company, and we started, and it's still going strong. I mean, I'm no longer a part of the day-to-day of it at all. It's all Sharon. But yes, that's how it was founded. It was actually because of how lonely I felt.
Oh.
Wow.
And I think one of the things I feel like in life, I've always had this approach, and I would recommend it to anybody. any student who is sitting perhaps like I was and feeling alone because they've left home behind, just feel like use all of this negativity inside you and change it into something positive. I felt that loneliness and I felt that disconnection, and I thought one day I will use that. So I saved that energy, and I used it to create something which is benefiting so many people. So even the suffering, you know, one of the things that people don't talk about is if you've come from a culture with lots of cousins. We grew up in a big house with my grandma, and we had like lots of cousins, and they were like you know, my friends. We didn't need friends because we had such a big family. We always have family gatherings with like 40, 50 people. Who would you need?
Using large pots to cook.
Large pots to cook, and the food never ends, and all of that. You know, all of those things. And I came here, and I was alone. Like I've never felt loneliness and quiet. Like I remember going down the road and thinking there is no one here, and feeling really like it hits you. You know, and that is the hardest thing. And I think we didn't have the buddy system then. We didn't have anybody, so you had to just go out and search for something yourself. And I did. I tried really hard to make connections and stuff, and you know, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But it doesn't matter. Just keep trying. But I think it is hard being a student and leaving everything. But just make sure that you're using all of that negativity in a way. For doing something positive. Just store it as energy. You know. So,
I mean, you mentioned about your volunteering at BCP where you met Sharon. Can you share what do you think are some of the qualities about you that got you from where you are? Because you came to the UK, you didn't know anybody. Literally, you didn't know anybody, and up to where you are now. I'd say you're a very like inspiring person. When I looked at your profile, I was like, oh wow, I need to get this person here to speak to you. So what are some qualities about you that you think you can share with other people that got you from that point to where you are now?
That's a very good question. Some of the things, one thing I've already mentioned about this negative and positive. I always think of all the negative input as something I'm going to turn into. So I take it as energy, and then I will transfer that energy into something positive. That's one thing. The other thing is that I've never thought that any opportunity is handed to you. I've watched opportunities like a hawk everywhere. Always. Because like I remember in my first job in Micronav, I wanted more responsibility, I wanted to grow, I always had ambition, okay? But there were a lot of people ahead of me, obviously. I was just a graduate and all of that. And so I thought, what is something that nobody else wants to do? And I figured out there's some quality stuff they don't want to do. So even the managers didn't want to deal with the quality department, with the quality checks. And I said, I'll do it. So I took on that responsibility and became like a sort of a quality champion of that department. And I knew about the procedures because it was an aerospace company. You have to have a lot of regulation and stuff. And so I learnt about it. I learned how to talk to the quality department in a way. I sat through audits, I got training and all of that. And I developed these skills of a lot of other skills which enabled me to communicate with people, which enabled me to make connections outside of my department and all of those things. And actually beyond the department, because when I went for training, I could meet more people and all of that. And I've always done this. I've created lack of opportunity into an opportunity. If you find something that nobody else wants to do that. That could be your thing. You know? And I would say I have this, an appetite for doing. And I think when we now look at things, some of the things I would say, people starting their careers, some of the things I hear is that they're too idealistic. They want everything to be perfect. They want. Everything is not going to be perfect.
Nope.
The reality is nobody cares about you when you start.
That's true.
But you've got to find something and you've got to show value. And if you keep consistently doing that, that starts getting recognized. And in doing that, I found many different things that I was interested in. Which I wouldn't have found if I didn't sort of volunteer and try those things, So I didn't follow the beaten path. I made my own thing. And therefore, I would say in 10 years, I was able to move faster forward and upwards in my career than many people who started with me. Like they stopped at 3-4 levels up,
Wow.
and I went all the way up because I was able to do such things.
Yeah.
And this is something like barrier is not really a barrier in my mind, because you can look around. There's lots of other opportunities. It's just that we're choosing not to see them.
Yeah.
So that would be my thing, I would say.
Wow.
Amazing. I kind of related to his question, but same thing. When I saw your LinkedIn profile, I was like, oh my God, VP of engineering. Like, how did you do it? You know, like, how did you move? Because especially for a woman, it's quite difficult. I feel like sometimes if you and a man are in the same role and someone needs to be promoted, you know, sometimes it might lean towards the man, especially in your field of work, engineering, tech and all that stuff. You know, it's kind of seen as a masculine type of thing sometimes. You know, you do coding and everything. So, like, really, how did you do it? And what are your top, say, 3 tips for, like, women in tech as well when they are searching for a job or when they want to upskill, move on the job ladder?
Job ladder.
Yeah, I think this is a very interesting topic, because I feel like I see a lot and I talk to a lot of women now as well in terms of like leadership positions and when they're starting their careers. I think for me, I felt, so some of the things I felt is that I was sometimes the last one to be given an opportunity, even though I might have been the most qualified because I was a woman. There is bias there, just because people prefer somebody who looks like them, talks like them, and I was different, you know.
Yeah.
And so that difference is also helps you stand out. But I would also say that use that as your strength, because that means you are not one of the crowd, and I didn't want to be. I was like, yeah, well, you're telling me I'm not one of you, but I am not.
Yeah.
I am actually proud that I'm not.
Yeah.
Because I know I bring something different, and I always did. And I think that, but I would say that it has to be matched with like the work ethic. I made sure that I knew about what I was talking about.
Yeah.
And if I didn't, I was very open to admit my mistakes.
Yeah.
And I approach people as human beings always. Even if I thought that I was, you know, unfairly not given an opportunity, when I was given it, I didn't moan. I took it and I thought I'll do a bloody good job.
Wow.
And I'll show them that I deserved it. And I've had chances where people, you know, if I'm more qualified, people would give it to, let's say, a new graduate guy instead of giving it to me.
Yeah.
It's fine. But then they screw everything up and then they have to give it to me, and I say thank you instead of complaining.
Yeah.
And I will do a bloody good job that they'll go back and say, well, we should have given it to you
In the first place.
And I think this is a lesson that people learn. But in life also, you cannot expect the whole world to change around you.
Yeah.
And I think that one thing, if I could give one thing to women that I feel we are trying to change the whole world to be more accepting of this the status that we have or the difficulties we have. That change would probably take centuries. What can change is if we know how to play the game better.
Yes.
And I think that is something that I feel that more and more women should learn, how to play the game we're in, rather than trying to say, let's change the game entirely. I mean, that would be ideal, let's say, in some people's mind, but I would probably be dead by the time the game changes. I really still want to be successful right now. The second thing I would say is that the toughest opposition and the biggest hurdles that I have faced are from other women, not from men in tech. And one big thing that happens is that women, I don't know whether it's because of the scarcity of opportunity or whatever the reasoning is, they pull each other down.
Yes.
They destroy your reputation.
Yeah.
And it really, really shocked me that was happening. So I would also say that if you are a woman in technology, especially because it's a field that you want to excel in, or whichever your field is, just make sure that you're not bringing other people
Bringing
down
other
just
people's
because
ability.
there's a woman there. So my biggest supporter have always been men, not women.
Wow.
My biggest opponents and biggest critics have been women. So
Wow.
actually, if you look at my path, men have been actually lifting me up.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
So there is a difference in perception, and I completely understand that it might be different for others.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this has been my experience.
Yeah. Nice. Amazing.
Yeah, a lot of deep stuff there because you mentioned like playing the game. So I can see you're an expert in the game, as in using. So, in Women and in Tech Dorset, what are some of the your biggest like accomplishments? In what way would you be able to help, let's say, other women, probably in like minority groups?
So I think in Women in Tech Dorset, the idea is that you have a space where we're celebrating all the achievements, and we're going against the pattern of, like I said to you, being against each other and pulling each other down. Instead, we're lifting each other up.
Oh.
So
Yeah.
there is learning there is inspiration, and then there is also thought for the future. So
Yeah.
what are some of those things that you feel like you are you'd hope to achieve that companies could do different and stuff? So those
Yeah.
kind of things we also feed back, and then we speak to the companies.
Yeah.
And again, like I said, Sharon is the one who's leading this whole thing. But yeah, this is the gist of it. And I think that things like that, you cannot see, like, what's my ROI on this? Like, you tell me exactly my return on investment right now. These changes are slow. This is what I meant,
Yeah.
And I think that, but if there is enough positivity, all you need is like a tiny little ripple effect, you
Yeah.
know? You start something small in the capacity you have.
Yes.
So don't think, you're going to change the world and you're going to do that. You change the world by changing yourself first.
Your surroundings
and then your
first.
surroundings.
Yeah.
And then that's how you create something. And
Impact,
hopefully for one person, if it made a difference. Because one of the big things I want to mention, on our launch event in Women in Tech Dorset, I gave the keynote and I mentioned about my endometriosis. I have struggled with endometriosis, and I said to them that there was some times when I was having more difficulty talking about it with the woman than with the man, because they were more accommodating. But I didn't let that be a hurdle in my career. And at the end of it, the talk, I had some women walk up to me, some in tears from uni, saying that they had endometriosis, and one of them said, I thought I should not even think about a career, because with that kind of a disease, in that much pain, what chance have I got? But then I thought, well, you can do it, I can do it as well. And this is what is a huge achievement, because if I change one person's mind, that's enough for me, because she's going to change somebody else's mind.
Yeah.
So these little things, I always say, these little specks of hope and of color and of positivity are so important.
Yeah.
So
amazing. I was looking at your website the other day, womenintechdorset.co.uk, and I can see that you did an event in Foundry Pool.
Yes, there's the last one.
It's so close to my workplace, but
wow.
Yeah, I literally passed by there today.
You should attend all those events. They're brilliant.
Our men invited. Men invited them.
Oh, men are invited.
Men are invited.
Yeah, it's open. Yeah. A lot of men do attend those.
Oh, really?
Amazing.
Yes. It is organized by Women in Tech Dorset, but it's open to all.
Nice, amazing. And you have another one coming up on the 2nd of April called Robust, Resilient and Ready, happening at Blandford Forum. So I think this is something that people can attend again if they want to learn more
and
about.
I want to also say that alongside this, Sharon and we thought of what was also missing from the Dorset tech scene.
Yeah.
And I had some conversations with some folks who used to organize some conference and stuff, and they were like, well, it's very hard, it's not really possible, blah blah blah. And you don't say it's not possible to me.
No.
I mean, like,
you push for it.
and I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it. So we did it, actually. We did in August last year. We did the first Reconnect conference. And we have our website, reconnectconference.co.uk. And that's the basically the only tech conference in Dorset. And it's coming back on July 4th.
Wow.
Amazing.
And we have an amazing keynote speaker in Kevlin Henney. And like I said before, for Bournemouth Uni, if you're interested in tickets and stuff, then reach out, because they are free tickets options as well. We also try to allocate, it's not a lot because it's only a small conference, but we have special allocation for Bournemouth Uni.
Nice.
Because we want the students to also benefit from this kind of conference. And we have an amazing lineup, and in the next 2 weeks you'll see all of those speakers come up there.
Wow.
Amazing.
And it was just a team of two, me and Sharon, running the whole show. Wow. Reconnect. And I remember, Sharon was hosting a panel discussion, and I was running around handing out history. This was the level of organization we had to do.
Wow.
But I was thinking, look, two women can make a whole tech conference happen, right? It's not.
So July is going to be the second one.
Yes, it's the second Reconnect. Yes.
Wow.
And also, I mentioned to you, we also when Reconnect happened in August, there weren't any meetups around. There were a few, but not that many. And they were in the background. And actually, I feel like it started something, because it brought people together. And they were like, oh, we're not having this. And obviously, then a lot of other meetups. And now I think it's even further. And I'm really pleased, because I feel like we started something. Nothing went into our pockets. We actually spent all of our own money in there.
Wow.
Yeah.
We had a budget of £1,000 for running a whole conference. Can you imagine? Giving people lunches, teas, everything. Speaker accommodation.
That's very ambitious.
That meant that I had to spend my own money, and so did Sharon to make that happen. But it doesn't matter, because actually the end will justify them. Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Ever since I moved to Bournemouth as a tech person, I've always been looking for communities to join, to network with people.
Yeah, he goes for London Tech Week, because there's nothing really happening here.
But we are trying. That's the whole point.
Yeah, so definitely I'll be at Reconnect in July.
Yes.
Yeah. So
we'll stay tuned for more.
You guys should also come as well.
Yes, of course.
If you're in the tech space, and you're in Dorset, that's the best place to be.
Yes.
Get to meet all the huge tech people,
get to meet
innovators.
Seemin as well.
Oh yes, I'll be running around
with the donuts.
With the donuts. This time though, we have more volunteers to help us instead of just me running around.
Yeah.
But it was fun. It was fun.
So I just have one final question for you. You do so much. You are a VP of engineering. You've got 2 kids.
Founder,
you have all these things you're doing. How do you do it? What's your day-to-day like, and how do you just manage everything?
When Simi wakes up on a Monday morning.
Because when you came in here, you came in with so much energy, and I'm like, oh my god, I just got back from work. I'm so tired. I just need to eat and just watch Netflix. But how do you just?
I would say, well, the source of energy is people. So I met you and your enthusiasm, and I was looking forward to talking to you.
Amazing.
And that's enough. Even if I'm tired, it will boost up my energy, and I will show up for you, because I respect your time and the effort you're putting in.
Thank you.
So I think the least I could do is show up in the right place and say the right things and interact with you with the respect you deserve.
Yeah.
So I feel very much like, if I interact with someone, I would expect them to be, respectful of my time, and I do the same for others. And I think that a lot of the times people feel like, oh, it's so much, but really it's all about time management.
Yeah.
At the end, I actually don't do a lot of time wasting things.
Yeah.
Which is, I don't watch a lot of TV, for example. I find it a waste of time. And I think that if I watch something, it's very selective, and I will watch an episode of something. So it might not be a huge series or something like that, but it's few and far between.
Yeah.
And I would. There's an app called The Knowledge, and it actually summarizes the whole news of the day for
Oh.
you. So I just read a summary, which is
Okay.
one
And that's it.
paragraph.
And you're fine with
And I
that.
don't have to go to BBC, CNN, all those websites to find out my news. So I get like a good summary of my news.
Everything, yeah.
So there are hacks that I've built
Yeah.
in order to be a bit
That
more
works for you.
productive and all of that. But you know, sometimes your child gets sick and everything goes out of the
Oh,
you
no.
know, out of the
Yeah, yeah.
window,
Out the window.
and you're like, okay, I need to be here. I think that the most important thing I would say is just be where you are and not anywhere else. And I
Yeah.
think that the quality that you can produce, so the things you're able to achieve in a very small time because you are paying attention to the present moment
Yeah.
is a lot. So actually I'm able to do a lot more in 1 hour because in
Yeah.
that 1 hour I'm completely
You're present,
there.
yeah.
I
So
agree
that
with that.
is huge.
Yeah.
So that would be my one big tip.
That helps me so much at work as well, because sometimes, you know, you get to work and there's so many messages and so many things going on, but I feel like sometimes I just block out focus time and I say, I want to do this thing within this hour, and once I'm just locked in, I find that I get so productive.
Yeah.
So I think being in the moment and being present and just having that focus time helps you to be very productive. So I agree with
I
that.
think
It
the
really
other
helps.
thing I would say is that the speed with which I go about, sometimes I burn out as well. Because I cannot say to you, sit here and pretend that that doesn't happen to me. Because it does.
Yeah.
And I need a break. And the way I take a break is to connect with a friend or have a conversation that I haven't had, and just block out all the noise and sit down over a nice meal. And just
Yeah, what do you do to relax?
That really.
just go and
nice
talk to
meal,
them.
yeah.
Just have a
Nice.
nice meal with someone that I really am connected to,
Yeah.
and we talk about life or things
catch
and all of that. Just catch up.
Yeah.
And I sleep. One of the things I would say is
good
pay
time.
attention to your sleep.
Yeah.
Because what people, if they mess up their schedule and they don't sleep, like I've always been a very strong sleeper, so I sleep 8 hours every single night.
Yeah.
Wow.
That is my lifesaver.
Wow.
So I would say sleep your way to success.
Yeah. It's good advice.
Sleep your way to success. I'll keep that in mind.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Do you have any last words? Anything you want to say? Anything you want to share?
I just wanted to appreciate what you're doing, because I remember how I felt when I was a student. And if I had something like this, I would be listening to it. So I'm hoping that you're reaching the right people, and they can hear it, and they can know that they're connected through you to others, and they're finding the people and they're connecting, because that period was a tough period for me. And so Bournemouth Uni has got a huge place in my heart. I actually went back. I did another master's there.
Wow.
Just because I was feeling like, you know, I love being a student at Bournemouth.
Wow.
Love it. So if I could, I'd do another one. But at the moment, I don't think I can stretch myself that much. I have twice started an application.
What?
Yeah.
To do
I
another
know.
one.
Yeah. But I thought, no,
Wow.
just leave it. Until my son is 10 years old, I'm going to leave it.
Wow.
But yeah, so I think it's incredible what you guys are doing, and keep it up. And I can already see you are building a community, and you're adding, again, the positivity. So brilliant stuff, and I'm really, it's been a pleasure talking to you.
Amazing. Thank you so much for coming as well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right.
Alright, guys. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, and we'll catch you in the next episode. Bye.